What does it really mean to come home? We tend to think of it as an arrival, right? A destination, the end of a long, hard journey. But what if home isn't the place you left? And maybe even more importantly, what if you're not the person who left it? That right there, that's the paradox of homecoming. For anyone who's ever felt lost out in the world, this is the core belief, isn't it? The idea of home becomes this single, fixed point of light in all the darkness. It's not just a place with four walls, it's a feeling, a sense of belonging, of peace, of a time when life felt whole. And that memory can be so powerful that it can pull you through almost anything. So when you're out there in the chaos of the world, home almost has to become this perfect, unchanging idea. It's the anchor that keeps you from just drifting away. It's the promise that gives all the struggle a point, turning mere survival into a journey with a purpose. But this is where the paradox really kicks in. After years, maybe decades of fighting his way back, the traveler finally arrives. And the first brutal lesson he learns is that the home he's held in his mind all this time, it doesn't exist anymore. That anchor he was holding onto, it's come loose. And this transformation is the absolute core of his new reality. I mean, think about it. He left as a king, a leader at the height of his power. He comes back as a beggar, worn down by the world, anonymous, basically invisible. And this disguise, it isn't just a clever trick. It's the literal truth of his situation. He's been stripped of everything except his will to survive. So the one place on earth that should be the safest for him is now the most dangerous. In order to get his life back, he has to pretend he doesn't have one. He has to watch and listen and move through his own home like a ghost, a complete stranger in the place he was born. And what does he find when he gets there? It's not the warm, orderly world he's been dreaming about. Not at all. He finds a kingdom that is totally unraveled, a home that's now defined by its own decay. You have to understand, in his world, there was this fundamental rule that held everything together: hospitality. And this wasn't just about being polite. It was a sacred contract. The idea was that you had to protect any stranger who came to your door, because that stranger, even a beggar, could be a god in disguise, testing you. This one rule created order, trust, and a clear sense of right and wrong. But in the years he's been gone, that sacred contract has been completely shattered. His home has been infested with these arrogant, entitled men. They're not guests, they're parasites. They're gobbling up his wealth, threatening his family, and just rotting the whole place from the inside out. They represent a world with no rules, where the only thing that matters is what you can take. And you can just hear the desperation in his son's words. He's pleading for a justice that seems to have totally vanished. He's speaking to a house where things like honor and consequences have become a total joke. Faced with all this decay, the traveler knows he can't just be the man he once was. He has to put on new masks, and not just to hide his face. This is about surviving the intense psychological warfare of being home. And this is the painful cost of that survival. He has to literally shed his own identity, layer by layer. First, he's a wanderer who still has his stories. Then, he's a beggar with absolutely nothing. And finally, he becomes a complete nobody, a void. In fact, at one point in his journey, he literally calls himself nobody. To get his name back, he has to give it up completely. Can you imagine the self-control that takes? To stand there in your own home and be treated like dirt. To be hit and mocked by men who aren't fit to stand in your shadow. But every insult he absorbs is a piece of information. He's testing everyone, figuring out who's loyal and who's corrupt, all while being a complete ghost. So after losing so much, status, youth, identity itself, how do you finally prove who you are? How do you even begin to reclaim a life? This is the ultimate question of the whole journey, right? When the entire world sees nothing but a beggar, what could possibly convince them that there's a king inside? What is the one undeniable piece of evidence of who you are? Well, it's not the obvious symbols of power. A crown can be stolen. A throne can be taken. Those are just things, objects that represent a power that can vanish in a heartbeat. And it's not a title either. A name is just a word. It has no power unless other people recognize it. Without that recognition, it's just a sound floating in the air. No, the only real proof, the only thing that can't be faked or stolen is a shared experience, a scar. It's an indelible mark left by life, a story written right onto the body that only a few people know how to read. It's proof of a past that was real, of a life that was truly lived. And yet, the final proof is even deeper. It's not the public scar from some famous hunt that everyone knows about. It's a private one, a secret. The secret of the marriage bed, the one he carved from a living tree, still rooted in the earth, the very foundation of their home. This is a memory that only two people in the entire world share. In a world of lies, it is the one unshakable truth. And that is what finally brings him home.
So in the end, homecoming is never just a simple return. It's a battle. It's a violent, painful reclamation of what was lost. It's the process of rebuilding a world for memory and fighting for a self you almost lost forever. It's not about finding the place you left behind, it's about creating a new home you can finally live in.